All right, so d6 to start off. Knight f6. Oh, so tempting the move e5, but not what you want to be playing as white. d5. Okay, d5 is definitely not a great move. There was a knight takes d5 tactic that we utilized previously, but here, unfortunately, after knight takes, we end up losing with knight c7 at the end, so it's not exactly a working idea. Bishop d3. Let's go h6. And as you guys know, I'll probably be playing this c6 move. Very typical for our setup. Okay, hang on. Now we're talking here. You guys are getting used to this idea. You just have to make sure that there's nothing valuable that knight could maybe hit at the end of the line. I don't see that there is, so it's making me think that we can just get away with knight captures d5. If bishop takes, we bring the knight back and take. And if he captures, we just take this piece on h4. So I think we can do it. And yeah, this pawn move to d5 is not really what you want to be playing. Okay. So far, so good. That was a success. Let's go here. Got a nice center. Maybe playing e4 as well. The problem I have with e4 is it traps his bishop, except for one square. So I'm kind of forcing him to find the right square. So a4 is fantastic. This is perfect. Because now I can play a5, and it's going to look like I'm just reacting to that move, which is a useful move anyway, but really, I'm setting up winning his bishop. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, couldn't be better. Could not be better. Yep, that was very helpful. Set me up beautifully. A little alley-oop there. All right, g3. We've got to put this queen on a safe square. Clearly, if we go here, I feel like the opponent's looking to play bishop takes, queen takes, maybe get a nice sacrifice going. So, you know, maybe you think about this. The problem with that is after c3, I'm not even threatening to take the bishop anymore. So instead of doing this, I think we just get it over with and take this bishop. Takes here, runs into even more problems. This pawn is just absolutely killing it if it makes it all the way there. Okay, so it probably makes the right choice. Now let's bring the queen up, and we have a really nice move, bishop a6. We also have this idea of knight e5. So I think we can put 2 and 2 together there, which should lead to a pretty nice outcome. We'll start with this because apart from this move, everything wins. Knight f3 is checkmate. Many, many ways to blunder. He doesn't. Credit to him. But now, once again, you have to guard that square. Many ways to blunder. We'll see what he comes up with. So far, he's been doing a good job. I think he might... Yep. I was going to say, I think he might find this, this move there. We can go d4, but honestly, rook e8 might be even more tempting. I think it'll be difficult to not see one of the, like, the f-pawn surely has to be moving here. Okay, goes rook there. I think we will go d4. Looking to set something up. Knight to g4 will be the next move, I think. Because where does he put the knight? Knight c2, knight d1, I guess. Maybe he doesn't put the knight anywhere. Maybe he just leaves it there. That's possible. This is not pleasant. Knight g2. Let's continue with this one. This threatens h2 mate. And it threatens the queen. So there really is only one move here. Queen takes g4. He's going to have to sack the queen, which is not an easy decision to make. He might play knight f4 because it looks like, oh, you take my queen, I take yours. He takes here. He's actually getting more material than just queen for knight. He's getting queen for rook, but then there's a problem here, right? It's a clear issue. Check. And we've got the rook covering the escape square. So we can just head down here for checkmate on h1. GG to Pawn Star. Always supporting adults in the industry here. Okay, on to the next one. d4. d6 is playable, but I like to play with the knight first. And oh, we have a London. All right, so let's, I mean, I think at some point we're going to say the guy's 900. He's probably been maybe 1,000 or something. Let's just get a London off the ground here where people are not hanging their knights. Like, I think we can do that. Like, that's not, there we go. That's not much to ask, right? And the thing about this is that the move e4, while it's also covered, is also never possible because it's pinned. So what I mean is that people are not playing h3 to keep their bishop. It's so valuable in this position to go for the bishop here, even maybe before we played the move e5. So I'm going to play knight here, and I'm curious how my opponent's going to react, but you will see playing this position without winning this bishop with either knight h5 now or later is way more unpleasant than taking it off the board. Okay, well, we didn't quite get it in the exact same fashion, but lo and behold, our opponent did manage to hang a knight on e5. You thought you would be wrong. We're back to basics, folks. 800-900s, hanging knights on e5 in the London. We're 3 for 3. We're rocking a 100% record here. And at this point, this knight is not even really getting out of f8. I think I might play queen takes on h2. That's looking a little tempting, because maybe then I could rescue my piece. Yes, the knight can take h7, but I'm a little concerned about that move for him. So yeah, we can take this. Probably I'm going to lose this knight. Instead, I think it's kind of interesting to play queen takes h2. This is a Saving Private Ryan moment. Can we rescue the knight on h1? I don't know. I really don't. Time to develop this bishop, but I think let's just take here. Not king takes. Thank you very much. Queen d4 looks like yeah, nice move. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm thinking bishop here. He's most likely going to castle, so trying to prepare for that, but nothing's really better than this, because if he castles, our knight can escape. And he might be thinking he has mate, but I don't believe that's the case. All right, rook d2. I think knight g4, just getting out, is nice and safe here. We can bring the queen back at any point, even queen back to e5, I happen to really like. This move looks pretty reliable. And yeah, maybe rook d8 after queen takes h7. There's queen takes or knight takes e3, but I'm really focused on trying to trade pieces here. I have extra pieces, so trading is the absolute best path forward. And this move will trade pieces. Queen e4 is very much forced. We can pre-move rook to h1 check. Wait, what? Oh my god, he played queen h1. What the fuck? This guy must be so confused right now. Even I'm confused. This guy played queen h1. I don't even know what just happened there. What the hell was that? He's gonna think that's the most insane prediction of all time. Like, he played queen h1 and his piece just disappeared. Like, what? He made a move and his piece immediately vanished. Shocking, really. Maybe queen e1. Yes, a nice bait for my buddy here. I think I barely got the words out of my mouth. I think he's going to play a3 and get mated anyway. GG. What a weird... I was so confused there. We played this. We pre-moved rook h1 check. And then this position occurred. I was like stunned for a second. Huh? Where does queen go? He must have been feeling the same thing. If I was confused, you know for damn sure he was wondering what the hell's going on. There you go. There you go. Nice win there. It was like seeing a magic trick. He was probably hella confused. We're jumping back in. We're starting with knight to f3. Then we're going d3, knight d2, bringing the pawn up, playing bishop e2, playing c3. We've got our setup. Always recapture with the pawn, so nothing new there. And queen c2 castle, right? That's pretty much the setup right there. Okay, an interesting idea. The guy's gone like knight g6, knight into f4. For that reason, I think I'm gonna get that bishop out. Not too interested in having the guy play all these moves and just like take my bishop when we can dodge it so easily, especially because knight c4 is, I mean, at that point it's just like a free knight. Like knight c4 you might think is a discovered attack, but it's actually a free knight. Like by playing the move knight c4 against someone under 1,000, that's a guaranteed free piece. So at that point it's not even a tactic, it's just collecting material. Okay, let's take this. Mainly I'm taking this and comfortable doing so because I just won material, so there's no pressure anymore, right? Like I'm more than happy to trade. So I'm thinking of rook here just to guard the pawn, but the more I look at the position, the more I'm like, we could just take, right? Why would we not trade pieces? Knight a5, I really like because, okay, he goes there, fair enough, that's a good move. I was gonna say knight a5 I really like because it seems to win an exchange, if that makes sense. Let's bring this knight here. And maybe rook d1, although I'll hold off for a moment. Bishop b7 is certainly a strong one. Our pieces are not coordinated that well right now. Like f6, we're gonna have to go like that. Probably take, but let's take and go back. Not sure this was the smartest. Maybe even rook c1 could be good. I like rook c1, rook c7. Yep. Whoa. That's quite an interesting move. Didn't expect that, but I'll take. And clearly he wants to get his bishop out there. I'll go here. Yes, giving up this pawn, but we already won a pawn over here, so I'm happy to give it back, especially because this is going to get some nice trades. This is my favorite trade where I get a bishop and my opponent gets nothing. This is my second favorite trade where I give a pawn and I get a piece. Apart from that, I default to actually trading things. Okay. I wonder at this point, rook here or something. I'll go knight to g5. Knight g5 is nice because when I threaten to checkmate him, especially if he plays bishop g6, then he's probably going to play h6 to kick my knight out. So now what's going to happen is I threaten mate. He's going to say, oh, no problem. I'll make an escape square. And then it won't work. Nice. We just no, we put him in a corner there. Read the lad like a book. Mon Hambleton, the 900 Whisperer. This opening was nice, simple, right? Not doing anything too crazy. Definitely saw a different look here And I'm not interested in allowing that to be taken, so I like the idea of moving the bishop no matter what. If I was already castled and had played rook e1, maybe I would drop the bishop back as well. I don't know. But yeah, in general, not too interested in letting this become successful. And once we play knight c4, our typical move, immediately make a threat, and I knew he was going to miss it. So, all right. We see a move that we haven't really seen thus far. c4 move 1, but don't let it affect your setup at all. We can still go for the exact same stuff. I'll get it move c6 in. It doesn't really matter the order, but c6, e5. Remember, if d4, just let it be. No need to do anything. We've seen this before. Castle. Okay, he just goes d3. Rook e8, like queen c7. We're going to go for our standard stuff. Bishop g5. We'll play h6. And now my favorite, after the move b4, playing the move a5. If they take, we're happy with that. Their pawn structure got a little bit disconnected, a little bit worse. If they play a3, even better. That's pinned. Rook b1, take. And then b5 would probably get our knight into the c5 square. Let's do this. Bishop there. I'm going to go straight back. I know, feels like I'm wasting time, but look at my pawn structure and look at my opponent's. Right? He's got that disconnect here, so it means the a-pawn is just a little bit weak. Just a little bit weaker. All right, let's play this. Maybe bishop back. I don't know. Queen can always slide back. I love the move knight c5. Looks like a move I'm happy with. Okay, queen d2. I think I'm going to move the bishop back. Kind of expecting at some point knight h4, so I want to be in a position to play g6 against that. Even if it doesn't happen, I like just kind of opening up the rook on the e-file. Like, for example, now, it makes a lot of sense to have the rook opened. We can take that. We can also probably decline and play a different move, but I'm not sure that I immediately see the value in that. So let's take. The position has kind of changed a bit, so I think I'm ready to take this one. Time to relocate some pieces. I'm actually looking at g6. I really like that. I know it looks very weakening, so I can't even justify how this looks, but there's so many pieces in the way. I don't think they can get out of the way to any dangerous squares easily. And I'm ready to play bishop g7 or knight g4 next. I just really want to stop knight f5. That move looked annoying. Queen d1. I'm starting to wonder, like, where the heck the pieces are going here. What's my opponent up to? Yeah, we very much have a real game here. Totally. Okay, let's put the bishop here. I could definitely leave it on f8. It is doing a decent job on that square. It goes knight b3. Wow, that's an impressive move. Might have to take this one, but got to give it up to the move knight b3. I'm assuming this. I think queen takes would be not very good. I'll try queen here. I think we want to go knight d7 or knight g4 next. I moved the queen because I was not really liking rook a1. Now I think it is time to move this knight. It comes with a threat, which is nice. It's also defended. And maybe we're looking at the f2 pawn, looking at it funny. Bishop f3 kind of accidentally defends everything because it's making a threat here. So yeah, it does. It does actually defend everything, strangely. And if knight e5, we're blocking the knight. So I guess I'll just defend the knight for now. But one way or another, it did actually handle things. Looks like a very solid just game so far by Ollie. He's making some thoughtful moves. He's coming up with plans. Like, I think I like it for him. At a4, showcasing he was definitely aware of the potential issues in the position. I guess we're going to take. Rook takes here and bishop takes. I don't like because it just, yeah, walking into a pin doesn't feel that good. So I'll take here. If he takes, he's really going to be running into trouble. But knight takes, rerouting the knight would be the better solution. Unfortunately, he does make, I would say, his first significant blunder. But knight takes with knight d3, he would have been just fine. And man, when it rains, it pours. One blunder leads to two blunders, leads to checkmate, and what was a beautiful game from Ollie, and honestly still is. You know, he played well. Just ends in spectacular fashion in a matter of like 3 moves. Feels bad, man. GG Ollie. Yeah, he played c4. So we haven't seen c4, but as you'll notice, it has 0 bearing on our opening. So we're always able to just get our system out here, no problems. First like 10 moves of your opening taken care of, no sweat. Always time for an expansion. If it's b5, a5, if it's just a5, doesn't matter. Always got to get some queenside pawns going. c5 as a square we are very interested in. If white did not play this, I would have probably played a5 anyway, just to secure myself a nice square on c5. Maybe h6, bishop f8, g6, same sort of stuff. All right, let's continue with knight f3 first. Then d3, knight d2, and then e4. Okay, we see d4 from the opponent here. Let's just get castled. If bishop g4, then I'll probably play c3 once again. We do see this move. I have a real habit of playing knight g5 against this move, because if you let me take, I'm super happy. Truly, I'm very, very happy to take. If you don't, then okay, you have to play bishop d7, which most people are a little annoyed by. So I think we want to go there. I might just take first and then c3. This is standard. We want to get our queen out. I'm definitely going to be looking at this queenside position that my opponent has. A little bit funny. If I can get this knight to move, bishop g4 wins the game. So I'm definitely interested in that. But for the moment, a4, a5 kind of looks like the way to go. Yeah, if he takes, happy to take back as always. This is a nice position. He's going to get the bishop out, but by taking, he gives me an open b file. I think this trade benefited me. Also, knight b3 does lose a piece, but I think after knight b3, he may not play that. And also, I don't really want to be allowing knight takes e4. So let's think how we want to do this. I think it's just going to be a5 first, taking away the square, maybe with queen a4 to follow. It looks kind of nice. Solid move there. Yeah, I do feel like queen a4 makes sense. It's kind of nice to leave the queen there. Maybe I dream of bishop g4 in the future, but yeah, probably not the way to do things. Let's go bishop a3. Don't think he has to take me, but bishop seems nicely placed. If not, queen a4 next, and then something to the b file. We got to use that b file. Goes queen there, dang. Okay, I think queen a4 here. Takes, we can take with the rook. We want to bring the rook over here. And who knows, there might be some big threats with d4 now. Especially if something's on the b file, I could see bad things happening. Yep, take this. That helps us double actually on the b file. And if you look at, you know, any kingside attack, it's not even close, right? Every single move that has been played in the game so far has been on the queen side. That's what I like to see. As a queenside attacker. What? This is gonna need an explanation here. Not sure I get that one. We could also just retreat the queen. So maybe he was thinking we had to retreat all the way and he would win the rook. That's quite the concept. But we can block, we can play queen b3. I don't know. There was feels like there were many things we could have done there, so I wasn't too bothered. But yeah, quite the aggressive move, knight d4, especially right in the face of a pawn. That move, I mean, there are many things to do, but you're going to be hard pressed to get me to not exchange a ton of pieces. That is just way too good to say no to. Let me take that. You want to trade the queens? Let me take that too. It's a good move there. Let's play knight back just so we can play d4. The backwards knight move, maybe he thought was just retreating, but of course we also made a nice threat here that he did not notice. And that will most likely be GG. And it is Valerio. Sorry, pal. But an opening where you castle on opposite sides, and believe me, it's very common. We've seen some opposite sides castling, but make sure to play c3. Start rolling those pawns if you can. Queen out to a4 is always a killer. Maybe knight to c4. And just look, every move that was made on the board was on the queen side for us. I mean, by the time we made a move on the king side, we were just wrapping things up, already up a piece. Okay, well, white pieces start with knight f3, just preventing e5. Players have definitely stopped blundering their e-pawn on move 1, so I'll give them credit. We just played this game. I'm sure we're going to get a different move here, though. Yeah, he decides to take. I'm always interested in the early c3. Just feels so nice with that knight there. Bishop e2, because anytime knight g4 is threatened, we just want to make sure that we have this move to cover, and we do. Should be okay now. Okay, he's going all out with that move. I can't really see a reason not to play b4 and a4. Okay, we're going to threaten to win the piece, which means he's obviously going to play this and prevent it. So let's go b5. Now the knight's got to move. Most likely knight c4 is our next move. And just on the queen trade, we have to be careful not to take with the rook, which would expose that. But instead, just take with the bishop. But yeah, queen trade will be perfect, right? We have under a little bit of pressure here, but queen trade will help out a lot. So yeah, let's get rid of the queens here. And once we get rid of the queens, I'm very simply going to play h3, because there's no way. Well, I can also take this, but I suppose h3 is fine here. I'm kind of curious to play this because I'm wondering how he's going to react. I think this is fine, but yeah. Once the queens are off the board, I mean, that doesn't exist anymore. You know, we're past that, I think. Let's take here. Threatening that, which can be defended a few ways, but also renewed by knight g5, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, I think this may be a rook d1 moment. But I think for now we'll start with bishop a3, pinning the knight. Rook to d1 is going to hurt one way or another here. Goes c5. I definitely understand that move. He wants to have some safe squares that he can move to, like c7 for the king, which means I think we're probably going to take. You cannot take with a knight without everything falling. And by the way, when I took here en passant, I actually got a pop-up from chess.com. You guys, I don't think could see it, but there is a full, like, it's specially marked and everything. All right, let's take this, because we've got this rook hanging, and we're just going to continue to trade every piece, because, you know, at the end of the line, we've got bishop takes rook. So this is completely winning. We didn't even win the rook for something. We won it clean. Knight takes c4. Probably take another pawn and then just bring this bishop back. And that should wrap up. Oh, actually, forgot. We can win a piece here. Yeah, when you're playing 900s, you can't miss a tactic like that. Okay. And I think, well, he's gonna wrap it up after that. Opening, fairly successful. And yeah, you're gonna have some positions where you're castling into a scary looking attack, but as long as you motor these pawns up the board here, you're one move away from a queen trade on offer. You should be totally fine. Like, not that scared. After this, it's like a queen trade guaranteed, or I'm taking this bishop. Then maybe I'll attack the knight. Fake threats. I do not subscribe to the fear magazine that this guy is selling. Okay, we're at 950. Let's see if we can keep it up. E4, D6. Plan always to play knight F6 after. And okay, D3. We're actually doing a very similar setup here. There's no bishop out on C4. So whether he knows it or not, he's doing a similar setup. I think he's going to include it with knight to C3 though. Okay, and he does take almost immediately. And here we go. Here's our setup. We're happy with it. Some sort of queenside expansion, right? Always on the cards. As soon as that opening phase of the game finishes, this is pretty much always what you want to do next. Okay. Not too scared of this, so I'm just gonna play H6. Nice useful move. Maybe rook E8 next. All moves that we've played in other games, in other positions that are similar. So, like I said, pretty much nothing that we play is... I mean, the order does matter, but none of the moves feel terribly unique. Rook E8. Okay, I'm gonna play our bishop f8 move. I really do enjoy this rook e8 bishop f8 maneuver. Feels pretty nice. I might also recycle this knight to c5. We know how good a knight on c5 is. Even though our usual knight that goes there is not on the board anymore, I'll still do it. I'll bring the other knight there. Okay, he wants to offer a trade. I feel inclined to say yes. If we take, maybe the knight starts to get over this way. So what I might do is play knight c5. And if he wants to trade, I'm happy to facilitate. Knight back to c3 to defend the pawn. I can definitely expect that. I'm going to play g6 here. I'm really expecting the potential move d4. And I want to be able to play the fantastic bishop g7 when it happens. Yep. This looks very reliable. We have knight takes e4, so the move d4 was no good anyway. What else do we have? We have the bishop pair, so the move d4 was no good anyway. Lots of reasons why it was probably not the best, but we still expected it. All right, I think it's just knight takes on e4 here. The nice thing is, even some discovered attack on e4 is not going to be that effective because there's a pin on the rook there. Now we can maybe we can start the dirty work early. Bishop e5, you know, just setting up for that potential checkmate at the end of the game. We're doing our job here. b5, just working for that mate. Yep. And now pawn takes a4 looks great, but rook takes a4. Boy, that's something. Ooh, bishop here, which means obviously here he's going to go back, so we can take, and you know, we did our dirty work early. He ends up seeing it, so I got to give him some credit, but something tells me he might not see this one. GG to T Brewer. Nice game. It was a nice game. Yeah, he went for a very passive setup. The only thing that I see from my opponent here that's really just no good. Bishop g5 and takes for no good reason. Like, don't need that at all. You know, I see this guy right here. I'm like, okay, he's rocking a pretty safe, solid opening. You know what he should do? He should watch this goddamn speed run and play knight d2 and c3. My God, he'd have a way better position. Because clearly he's not a bad player and he starts the game the same way. It's just bishop g5 is no good. Not helpful. And yeah, we just get the two bishops here. before I even know what moves are going to be played by the opponent here, I already know that my short list of moves is probably 5 to 10 deep, and it's like rook e8, h6, bishop f8, g6, b5 if possible, maybe bishop e6. There's probably going to be other moves like d4 I know I'm taking, b4 I might leave it there or take, d5 I might play at some point, bishop here, maybe bishop g7 later. Like, I already kind of know how the game is going to look. And pay attention to how unbothered I was about moving this bishop, right? I'm active on the a file. I got this rook active here. Did this bishop need to move? No. What move are we on? 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. And we moved on move 29 for the first time. And why did I move? To end the game. Developing that bishop on c1 or c8 in this opening is absolutely not a priority. So don't trick yourself into thinking you have to move every piece once to finish development in this opening, because it's not the case. All right, we do see c4 again. It makes a return. It's not really going to affect our setup, so we're just going to continue here. We can go c6 as well. Bishop e7, queen c7, castles. Okay, once we're castled, you guys kind of know what to expect, right? Usually a queenside move. As I said, if not b5, a5, probably just a5. We do get this move played, which means we've earned ourselves the c5 square. Pretty happy about that. I think we'll play rook e8, but yeah, we want to play knight there. And notice how I'm not interested in taking little queen there. We're playing knight c5 guaranteed because the likelihood of knight b3 being blundered is very high. And even if it doesn't get blundered, I'm very happy with the move. So we're definitely going to play that. I think bishop f8 here looks fine. We have knight there, but it doesn't, I mean, it's just going to move the rook. So he's playing this move with the rook aimed at the king. Now, why did I play rook e8 and bishop f8? It's really to deal with this, whether or not it happens early or later. Like, clearly our opponent's in huge trouble here, though. So yeah, bishop f8 after rook e8. I mean, you can't be playing d4 after that. It just doesn't make sense. But what's the most likely way that the pieces get traded? It's very likely that at some point d4 gets played against this system. So if we ever take rook on e8, makes so much sense. So that's why we just do this early. Whether or not d4 has been played, it just still makes sense to have a rook laying in wait on e1 or e8 in this system. And he just walked into the absolute worst thing you could do. I mean, he literally played d4 with his king and queen lined up on my rook. Like, it could not have been worse for him. But hopefully you see the point that it's good to do regardless. It's not like I knew he would do that. I was setting that up because that's just smart to do. Okay, we'll give a check here. And I imagine king f1 might be played. If not, king g1 here. I think we might be looking at a checkmate pretty soon. Okay, and we are just going to win that material, and that's enough for him to throw in the towel. So, you know what, not interested. Yeah, c4, you're going to have no trouble setting up your system against c4, so that's the nice thing. If you're just like practicing the opening and you see this, it's going to be like two ships passing in the night, no big deal. Play a5 every single game, pretty much. c6 and a5 is nice. Sometimes they might take, sometimes they might push. Either way, we have a nice, beautiful structure. And no way am I ever interested in taking. I'm interested in having my pawn taken and leaving the c5 square for myself. So if white plays knight c3, notice how my knight earns c5. That knight does not have any squares available. So the pawn on c3 and c6 is like one of my favorite parts about this opening, because the reciprocal knight just has nowhere to go. Okay, we get e4 again, which means it's time for d6. A little check to see if he's going to blunder with e5. He does not. Smart guy. After knight c3, we can't really play e5 because it's queen trade. We never allow that, so you know that the next move is knight d7. Now e5, and we're ready to take back with the pawn. If bishop c4, we have to play bishop out, so we're ready to meet knight g5 with castle. Hopefully you're starting to get used to the opening and how the moves happen. Bishop e7. Yeah, pretty much anytime I see this like pinch, unpin with bishop there. Knight d5 is a nice blunder. I mean, bishop b5, I hope I don't need to remind anyone how obvious the move c6 is. We want to play it anyway. It was literally going to be my next move, but he just plays bishop b5. I'm like, okay, thanks very much, buddy. Thanks very much. Let's play queen c7 maybe. There's no knight g5 anyway, so at this point we're kind of home free. Gonna castle. And once again, all the same good moves getting on the board here. Castle. Yeah, I'm thinking about h6 as well. All right, a4. I think you know, especially because it's time to push pawns, that we're going to go with one of them. a5, definitely. h6. I'm curious what's happening with that bishop. Just curious. You can answer the question. Okay. It is possible that bishop b4 just wins a pawn here, like queen d3, takes, knight takes e4. But I also lose the bishop pair, and I'm not 100% sure that that's what I'd like to do here. Okay, rook e8 looks phenomenal. Rook d8 might also be a good-looking move here, just because of the lineup on the queen. But let's just keep it simple. I'll go knight c5. Yeah, like I said, bishop b4 is maybe a decent move, but I will stick more with something like this. For now, with e5 hanging, I think we need to do something about that. So I'm going to go here. I think it's a temporary move, though, because after rook e8, I'm probably going to bring the bishop back. And now my opponent should respond to this threat, which he kind of pseudo-defended by playing bishop g3 and making a threat of his own. But now, because he didn't do anything about it, I think we just take this. At least he did play h3, so, you know, bishop there still gives me a lot to think about. Most likely, I'll respond with rook here. Goes queen there. Definitely after winning a pawn, immediately we want to take. 100%. I'm a little nervous about playing rook e8 because I'm starting to be like, whoa, a lot of things ganging up on that square there. I'm not sure how much I enjoy that. So I have to kind of consider, how do we make e4 work, or how do we handle maybe knight h4 or something. Wouldn't say this is the simplest position. So I'm going to go here and try to play bishop e6. I think it's fair to admit that this bishop is too strong. That's a fantastic move. I pretty much have to play this. We were also pseudo, you know, defense and offense there, which I appreciated about that move. Let's go king h8. Now that he moved the rook away from that square, I'm a little bit happier. Unfortunately for him, f5 is quite good here. I see what he wants to do, though. Queen e4, bishop d3. Not gonna lie, I understand it. There's an unfortunate blunder waiting to happen here. Hopefully he doesn't do it. And he does make a bit of a better move. Yeah, we'll take. The knight is threatening. Oh, okay. He doesn't do it. Definitely should have done it. We'll play this. Knight there. There's all sorts of pins, but amazingly, I think he's actually covered in all cases. Maybe even take. I think I'll play this and like g6. Let's see what we can do with this position. Bishop g3 and takes looks good. I have to pick up the pace a little bit here. I like g6 though. That feels like a strong move. We can get this rook over a little bit. I think we're almost at the point where we want to get some pre-moves in. Hey, I like that move from him. That's actually a really good one. Let's do this. Kind of an advanced move, rook takes f4. I mean, it's a blunder, but it's sort of like an advanced blunder. Does that make any sense? It's a blunder that I wouldn't expect, you know, this guy to make. I'm proud of you for that blunder. Way to go, lad. GG, Philidor. Oh, man. Wouldn't expect you to make that blunder, so, you know, I gotta give him some credit for that one. Rook takes f4 is like, it comes from a good place. I don't know how else to describe it. It definitely comes from a good place. Like, kind of removing the defender so that you can take it. I respect it, but it is a mistake. It is a blunder. He would have done well to maybe play something else, but, you know. GG, Philidor. How did the opening go? Pretty well. Yeah, we didn't make any mistakes with the move order. Bishop e5 is horrible. Maybe b5 and then a5 could be considered here, but you know, whether you get this move in or not, the ideas are all there. You can kind of choose the order a little bit. Yeah, I didn't mind this position. Honestly, when I took, I was like, I kind of regret that in the end. Like, man, there was a lot of pressure here with some knight h4 stuff that I thought was pretty good, but we did well. Kind of got out of it, played this, and at this point, we were sailing. I think we were covered. All right, knight f3. We continue, covering e5. Let's go e4. This is familiar, isn't it? Okay, they love to play this bishop move, but man, c3 is part of our system, so absolutely no problem at all. Zero issue. Bishop e2, castle. Queen c2. You guys can almost tell me what my next move is. Like, the moves are really that predictable. Black is probably going to decide to fianchetto the bishop because the only other option is maybe doing this. But one of those two decisions has to be made here. Because, yeah, this bishop has no home. Nowhere to go. c5, kind of delaying the decision, but I think we'll still... Yeah, I think b6 makes much more sense here. a4 and bring our knight to c4. Just securing that c4 square for ourselves. Very common idea. And also, of course, rook e1 and dropping the bishop back is another one that I like. So you guys know all the technology. You have all the information, all the tools. a6 will be an even better reason to play a4, so I will go ahead and do so right away. I was probably going to play it anyway, but seeing this and seeing the expansion idea, yeah, let's immediately get that covered. Now that I see this, still this move's not possible, but I'm going to take this moment to play a5. Okay, queen there. Maybe he was expecting a different move. I don't know. He seems all in on this, but it does not really work. And knight b6 is an idea now. Funny, you can get knight b6, rook a7, and then the rook is literally out of the game. Like, it's not playing chess. Completely trapped there. Okay, yeah, I think we will play this. It might be more of a temporary move, because although we force his rook to a funny position, yeah, like I said, you know, he has knight d7, so he can sort of deal with it. So even though it's very tempting, I'm concerned that it doesn't do that much. Still, we're going to play it, of course. How could we not? Anytime you force the guy to go here, you have to be pretty happy with yourself. Sorry, I spoke too soon. When I said force him to go there, of course I meant ignore it completely. And well, a free rook is definitely going to be more than enough. I'm happy with that. Obviously, he can win a pawn here, but someone once told me that a pawn for a rook is a good trade. I am threatening c4 here to win even more material. So he is gonna hand that over to me. One piece drops, another piece drops. Not that comfortable. Time's ticking. I mean, yeah, it's bad to worse for our guy here. Want to play? Honestly, he's probably asking if he can, and I've been slapping him down with the answer no the entire time. He's just trying to play. I'm not letting him. Poor guy. And exactly, Casino Duck. Look at the bishop. I'm never in a rush to develop it. It's just not a feature of this opening. Yes, you can move it at some point, but there are so many useful things you can do with the rest of your pieces that don't involve that. Save it for when the time is right. Doesn't mean you have to leave it there until later, but you certainly can, and I make use of that very often. All right, we'll go knight f3. Again, covering that e5 square. d3, knight d2. And okay, our opponent's going for a fianchetto setup, which means there's not really going to be any struggle getting our opening on the board, right? Like I think we'll have a pretty easy time simply getting the moves out. As you guys know, once we get into a position like this, first of all, I always advise when someone's fianchettoing and then they're pinning your knight, h3 immediately, because they can never go back or they lose a piece. So immediately you get to know the answer, like are they going to take you or not? And I think it's nice to know. Okay, rook e1. a4, just a typical gaining space type of move. Okay, he plays this. I think I'm going to go queen c2. Maybe it was time to push, but I really like the consistency of this pawn on e4, so I'm going to keep it that way. Queen c2, part of our system, getting out of the d-file pressure, and also lending simple support to that e-pawn there. Okay, it goes here. I'm thinking of pushing, although not really any rush right now. Let's play bishop f1. Now the pawn is defended by the rook, so maybe the queen can move if needed. Again, not in a particular rush to develop this bishop, but it may finally be the time. You know, we're almost on move 15. Knight there, bishop e3. Looks nice to bring the rook over. And I can't get in, but I imagine black's probably going to play something like knight e5. There it is. We'll take, and we've got this bishop on f1, fantastically placed to handle the move g3, guarding the h-pawn, maybe intending f5. After knight f6, definitely intending f5, or f4 rather, excuse me. Yeah, f4 and then e5 is, should just be winning now. We'll have to deal with this, but hey, for an extra piece, I'll deal with it. I'll get the strength from somewhere. And yeah, in the end, there wasn't really much to that game. We had our pieces on good squares, and so the pawn moves just came easily. Hitting that rook, queen c6, we can just take a free rook. We'll be up quite a lot of material, and queen back. Unfortunately for our opponent, we can win even more material here. That rook is trapped. This game is a disaster. And yeah, there's probably many ways to handle this position, but I'm always a believer that trading pieces is the way to go. So I'm just gonna keep it simple. Just try to go queen d8 there. I get checked, offer another queen trade, not even gonna think twice. And yeah, happy to take. And we should be able to send our a pawn home here. Check. I think probably, I don't know, is f5 gonna get me the checkmate that I want? There we go. Put him out of his misery here. Rook takes h7. GG. Stratagem. Anytime someone plays a fianchetto system against you, so if you're playing Grunfeld, Here it's King's Indian players. You never have to worry. Your setup's going to be very easy to get, to achieve. So first like 10, 15 moves are kind of a wash. Anytime someone pins you with a fianchetto behind it, h3 immediately. You'll always end up getting your decision right away, which is nice to know. And then from there, we just went for the same standard ideas. Even this, don't need to overreact. Queen c2. e5 is a great move here, by the way. It really is. But I like to keep it nice and systematic. So there might be another situation where e5 is not the right move. I'd rather just have you play queen c2 every time. Keep the pawn on e4. We've become very familiar with this idea of tucking the bishop back. Also the idea of like random pawns up. It's finally time to develop here. This is a nice safe square. There's no trades. There's no knights that can bother it. So we finally felt comfortable, especially with the queen in the middle on an open file. I want to bring a rook there ASAP. And then, yeah, from here, I see the pieces want to come in, but a very logical follow-up to that bishop f1 idea, as we know, is g3 to maybe play bishop g2. So here I decided, let's start that right away, because I can see big expansion, and our opponent walked into a huge mistake. All right, let's go for it. e4, d6, right? And then we go with the knight. We always ask ourselves, is our opponent going to blunder with e5? In this case, dun, 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 yes, he is. And his prize, he's completely lost in a couple of moves. I wish you all the best of luck in achieving your dreams in this opening. So many people play this. Let's play this so that he'll play h3 and help our knight out. That would be a little bit useful. Let's get developed here. Just waiting for my ticket out. Thank you very much. Okay, we've traded every piece in sight. We're ready to long castle. And what's the aftermath? We are ahead. Very clearly, an extra rook. That all happened because he played e5. I'm telling you, people are going to play e5 against you often. I wouldn't take him seriously. It is just a free win every time. Okay. I think doubling rooks on the open file is, you know, I'm never going to be messing up at that point. Yes, there's a free pawn here, but let's focus on trying to trade pieces first. Maybe he defends it. We get a nice piece trade. That'd be great. This, once again, looks like we're getting towards piece trades. I kind of prefer it to just winning a pawn randomly. I'm already up a rook, so not really too important. Yeah, again, hunting for rook d1 here, and he's had enough. He deserves to get beaten down there, guys. We're 1,000 on the dot. But look, I've had enough. e5, people play it often. It is terrible. It's so bad. They think they're like attacking the knight. They're going to get a quick win. No, right back at you, my friend. After this, they're completely KO'd. And you see how quickly the game is just 100% over. We're hitting the numbers on the dot. Surely that's you know, good omen. Certainly feels good, right? I'm not the only one. Just so satisfied by seeing 1000, right? Just feels nice inside. Thank you for making it to the end of this episode of the Philidor speedrun. This opening has been super successful for me, and I hope you guys are experiencing the same elo boost. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already and turn on post notifications so you do not miss our next upload. I'll see you guys in the next one.